Alice Talbot was busy with her Saturday morning cleaning routine while her husband, David, was out at his usual golf game. She always saved the living room for last. Since moving into the old farmhouse a year and a half ago, Alice had grown fond of their large four-bedroom home. As she dusted her thimble collection in its shadow box, she noticed a hanger on the wall a couple of feet away. It seemed like the perfect spot for her collection of collector's spoons. Remembering that the spoons were in the attic, she continued with her chores until she could retrieve them. In the attic, Alice scanned the various boxes. She saw 3 labeled David's stuff and knew her spoons weren't in those. She spotted a box marked knickknacks, which she lifted and set atop the David's stuff boxes. Opening it, she was surprised to find her Denim Days children's collection wrapped in paper on top. After carefully setting them aside, she found her spoons and the wall rack beneath them. She placed everything back with care, ensuring the children's collection was securely returned. As she moved the box back, its flap caught on another box. She tried to close the open box and noticed a piece of lace-trimmed cloth sticking out. Curious, she looked inside and found a skirt with a lace ruffle, definitely not her style, as she preferred plain clothes. Digging further, she discovered blouses, dresses, and other feminine clothing in a box labeled David's stuff. Her curiosity grew as she checked the next box, which contained papers and desk accessories. The third box, however, was filled with bras, panties, slips, stockings, a garter belt, and even a pair of chest forms. Noticing the bra size of 42D, Alice thought it would fit David. She carefully returned everything to its place and took her spoon collection downstairs. While polishing the spoons, Alice reflected on the discovery and felt a mix of confusion and anger. She considered how David's interest in women's clothing might affect their marriage and wondered how to address the issue. The more she thought about it, the more determined she became to confront it. At her job in the local emporium, which stocked everything from food to clothing and occasionally bondage gear, Alice reviewed the available items. She found a black 3-inch wide belt with a lock and a pair of 5-inch black heels with a locking ankle strap. Despite the steep price of the shoes, her 15% employee discount made them seem more affordable. When she returned home, Alice hid the items in the closet of the spare bedroom. She planned to wait for the right moment to confront David about her discovery. Puzzled by her preoccupation, she recognized the gravity of what she had found and knew she had to address it. At dinner, David mentioned a new project, "I've got a winner to restore." It's an antique dresser with about 20 coats of paint on it. The owner wants it finished in a honey oak color. It's going to take me 3 days just to strip the old paint. Alice replied, "I'm sure you'll handle it perfectly. Your restoration business is really thriving." Converting the barn into a workspace was a brilliant idea. David remarked, "We were fortunate that all the buildings were in such great condition. I've turned the machine shed into a storage area for my projects. Right now, there are 2 items in there waiting for my attention." Alice asked, "I noticed a tear in your jeans yesterday. What happened?" He replied, "Oh, I snagged a nail while reaching for a rag. It scratched me but didn't bleed, so it was a minor injury." After dinner, David went for his usual swim in the pool they had set up. Alice cleaned the dishes and considered how nice it would be to have an automatic dishwasher. Once she finished, she went outside to retrieve the evening paper from the box by the driveway. While reading the paper, David came in to take his bath. Soon after, he joined her in pajamas and a robe. Alice switched sections of the paper and, as she did, she glanced at David and imagined him in a nightgown and slippers. She smiled at the thought. The following Saturday morning, instead of her usual cleaning, Alice went to the attic and brought down 2 boxes of clothes. She took them to the spare bedroom and chose an outfit for David, a rose dress with white lace trim, a long-line bra, panties, and stockings. She also fetched the super glue and left it on the dresser for later use. With plenty of time on her hands, she hung the remaining clothes in the closet and placed the lingerie and stockings in a drawer. When David returned, he was in high spirits, having beaten the other 3 players in his golf foursome, a rare achievement. Alice congratulated him on his victory. She then said, "There's something I need to show you. Come with me." She led him to the spare bedroom, where he blushed deeply upon seeing the clothes spread out on the bed. She said, "I found these in the attic last week." "How do you explain them?" David stammered, "It's nothing. A couple of years ago, I was curious about wearing a dress, so I bought those clothes to try it out. I only wore them twice and packed them away. I haven't thought about them since." Alice responded, "There's more than just 2 sets of underwear here. It seems like you wore them more often. Now, you're going to put on the outfit I selected so I can see how it looks on you. Get changed." Despite his protests, David realized Alice was serious and complied. She led him to the bathroom and explained that they needed to remove all his body hair. He asked, "Why do I need to get rid of it?" Alice replied, "A lady doesn't want visible body hair." "Aren't you a lady?" David didn't answer. Alice applied lotion to his body and chatted while it worked. He was relieved to finally shower and was astonished by the amount of hair that accumulated. Afterward, Alice handed him some floral-scented lotion to apply. Back in the bedroom, Alice handed him the garter belt, which he managed to fasten without trouble. She then gave him the stockings, which he also put on easily and attached to the garters. Next were the panties, followed by the bra. It took him a little while to get everything hooked, but he managed. Alice watched with a mix of amusement and curiosity. Finally, she applied super glue to the chest forms and placed them into his bra cups. David was taken aback by the unexpected application of glue. When he asked why she was gluing the chest forms, Alice replied, "You wouldn't want them shifting or falling out in public, would you?" He didn't respond. Soon, he had the slip and dress on. Alice fastened the locking belt around his waist and secured it. Then she slipped the shoes onto his feet, wrapped the ankle strap around his ankles, and slid the tab into the lock. He stood there, seemingly immobilized. Alice asked, "What did you have planned for today?" He replied that he intended to mow the lawn. Knowing it would take him most of the afternoon due to the large yard, she said it was lunchtime and suggested he prepare something to eat. When he questioned why he should make lunch, she said, "I'm in jeans, and you're in a dress. Who looks more like a homemaker?" He remained silent and went to prepare lunch. While they ate, Alice added, "Afterward, you can do the dishes. We can't leave them piling up." Once he finished the dishes, he mentioned his legs were already sore from the heels. Alice told him he could start on the lawn now. He protested, "In this outfit? I can't go outside like this." She replied, "You're right. I have just the thing for you. Follow me." She led him to the small bedroom, where she unlocked his belt and shoes. After he undressed and reached for his undergarments, she told him not to put them on. She helped him step into a bikini bottom and soon had him put on the matching top. She then instructed him to put the heels back on. When he questioned why he had to wear the heels, she explained, "You need to get used to them. The sooner you break them in, the more comfortable they'll become. Now, get out there and mow the lawn." As he mowed on the riding lawnmower, a few cars sped by, thankfully not slowing down. Once finished with the rider, he had to use the push mower for detailed work. His heels sank into the soft ground, forcing him to walk on his tiptoes. The job was quicker than expected, but his legs were aching. He then tackled the final trimming with a weed eater, navigating around trees, flower beds, and the pool. Afterward, all he wanted was to sit and relieve the pressure on his feet. When he came inside, Alice asked if he wanted to keep the swimsuit on. He declined, so they went to the bedroom where he changed back into the dress. Alice informed him he had an hour before he needed to prepare dinner. In the meantime, he was to clean the hair from the shower, dust and clean their bedroom, and make the bed. He reluctantly followed her instructions, regretting not having thrown out the clothes earlier. He wished he could escape from the shoes. Alice announced she was going into town but would be back in time for dinner. He wondered what she needed, as she usually did her shopping at the end of her workday. He completed the bedroom tasks and began preparing a simple dinner. When Alice returned home carrying 2 bags, she headed straight upstairs. After dinner and cleaning up the dishes, Alice asked if he wanted to go for his usual swim. He agreed, and she unlocked his belt and shoes, instructing him to wear his bikini. He undressed and, while putting on the red bikini with bright yellow flowers, noticed its outline on his skin. Although distressed, he put it on and went to the pool. The swim was relaxing, and his legs started to feel normal again. He wondered how long Alice would keep up this dress routine. With the nearest neighbor a quarter-mile away in either direction, he felt somewhat secure but still dreaded the possibility of being seen in his current outfit. When he walked in, Alice told him he could keep his swimsuit on. He mentioned he was going to take a shower, and she instructed him to shampoo his hair thoroughly and leave it wet before coming to find her. He was in the shower and didn't hear her enter and then leave the bathroom. After finishing his shower, he put the swimsuit back on and went to find her. Alice directed him to the dining area and had him sit down. He noticed hair rollers and hoped they weren't meant for him, but soon realized they were. Alice rolled his hair so tightly it was painful. When he complained, she told him he was being a big baby. She applied a lotion with an unpleasant odor to the rollers, then covered his hair with a plastic bonnet. She used 2 ice cubes to pierce his ears, quickly inserting studs into each. After waiting a while, she removed the bonnet and rollers, brushing his hair and occasionally trimming it. Then she applied makeup, eyeliner, eyeshadow, mascara, and lipstick. When she held up the mirror, he was stunned to see a woman's reflection staring back at him. He had never imagined he could look like this. She said, "The last thing you need to do is thank me for all my hard work." He replied, "Thank you. I appreciate the effort, but we need to talk." She asked, "Sure, what do you want to discuss?" He said, "What's your end goal with this? How long do you expect me to wear these clothes? And why are you doing this in the first place?" Alice responded, "I'll answer your questions one at a time. I'm not entirely sure where this is headed or how long you'll be in dresses. As for why I'm doing this, remember, you were curious about wearing dresses before I ever pushed this. I have to say, you look good in a dress. While I'm not fond of the frilly, lacy ones, you seem natural in them. I might get you some more frilly clothes. Have you considered transitioning to becoming a woman, like having surgery?" He gasped, "Absolutely not. I only wanted to see what it felt like to wear a dress." She said, "Well, now you're going to get your wish. It looks like you'll be wearing dresses for a while." He asked, "Isn't this against my wishes? Do you expect me to work in a dress?" She inquired, "Are you saying you can't do your tasks in a dress?" He said, "I'm not sure, but I'm used to working in jeans, not a skirt." She replied, "Give it a try. If the skirt is too billowy, we can try tighter ones. With your legs, you'd look great in a mini skirt. We should get you one. Have you ever worn a work apron?" He said, "No, I'm usually careful not to stain or paint my clothes." She said, "We'll get you a couple of work aprons, so you have one while the other is being washed." He asked, "You said when you are washing the other one. Are you expecting me to do the laundry now?" She said, "Since you're dressing like a woman, you'll be doing what women typically do. I expect you to keep the house clean, cook, do the laundry, make the bed every day, and take care of me." He said, "It sounds like you're making me the maid. What about my work?" She suggested, "How about this, each day I'll assign you a task that takes no more than an hour or 2. Once that's done, you can work in the barn. Otherwise, you might struggle to find time for your work." He thought for a moment before agreeing, "I suppose that's okay. But working with power tools is risky in heels." Alice said, "We'll get you some flats for working in your shop. How does that sound?" He replied, "That sounds good." Alice was surprised by his acceptance of wearing dresses. Why else would he agree to wearing flats if he wasn't? It was bedtime, and as they prepared for bed, she handed him one of her nightgowns. It was tight on him, and she made a mental note to get him some that fit better. She contemplated getting really frilly, lacy ones and smiled at the thought. The next morning, after breakfast, Alice showed him how to brush his hair so it looked neat. He had put on a yellow sundress with ruffles over the shoulders. She added a yellow ribbon to his hair and demonstrated how to apply foundation and makeup. As she prepared to leave, she grabbed a purse from the closet, filling it with lipstick, tissues, and other items, including his wallet, which shocked him. She announced it was time to go. When he questioned where, she said they were going shopping. He protested, saying he couldn't go out dressed like that, but she insisted he would either come with her or she would go alone and buy whatever she wanted. It would be better if he helped select what she bought for him, she said. Reluctantly, he agreed. In the car, he voiced concerns about being seen by someone they knew. Alice reassured him they were heading to Thameston Mall, 40 miles away, the largest mall around, where they could find everything they needed. Upon arrival, he wondered if there was a giveaway, as they had to park far from the entrance. His legs ached by the time they reached the mall. They passed 3 stores before Alice noticed a sale sign in a shoe store. They entered, and soon picked out 2 pairs of flats, one black and one white. Alice unlocked his shoes so he could switch to the black ones, explaining it was because they would be doing a lot of walking. As they left the store and walked down the mall, Alice warned him that if he complained about anything, she would have him put the heels back on. They walked a considerable distance to a discount store where Alice chose for long, very feminine nightgowns. He blushed when she said he would look darling in them. They moved on to the dresses on sale, where she found 2 that were exceptionally feminine. At the jewelry section, Alice selected a necklace, bracelet, and earring set, noting that the earrings hung down at least 3 inches. She also chose a women's watch for him. Their shopping continued as Alice spotted a store labeled old-fashioned style store. They decided to check it out, and he smiled when she found 2 work aprons with 2 pockets each. His smile faded when she also discovered a white and pink pinafore-style apron. They then headed to the food court. While eating, Alice asked if he could think of anything else he needed. He mentioned he had only 2 bras and 3 panties, with one of the panties yet to be worn. Alice smiled, pleased with how he was adapting to his feminization. After their meal, she guided him to a store specializing in women's underwear. She selected 3 more bras, long line with steel stays, and half a dozen lacy panties, which made him blush as she held them up. As they neared the entrance, Alice noticed a uniform store with a sale banner and a black maid's dress in the window. Inspired, she led him inside, where the saleslady showed them a rack of maids' uniforms on sale. Alice carefully examined the uniforms and chose a black one. When he asked why they needed it, she replied, "You said you thought you'd be the maid, so I'm just getting you the uniform. I hear men dream of getting into maids' panties, so now you can wear them yourself." She laughed at her comment, and he blushed deeply. Alice also picked out a pink and a light lavender uniform. He asked why he needed 3 uniforms. She said, "The black uniform will be for your daily tasks. The other 2 uniforms, I might have you wear when my Wednesday night card club comes over." He protested, "You can't do that. What will they think?" She replied, "If you prove to be a good maid, maybe I'll give you Wednesday nights off. How does that sound?" He agreed that sounded better. During her card club meetings, he usually found somewhere else to go until he thought they were finished. A few times, he misjudged and arrived home just as they were having a snack before leaving. Burdened with packages, Alice said it was time to take them to the car. He was relieved it was over. As they drove home, Alice remarked, "We can't keep calling you David. You don't look like a David. What name would you prefer?" "I like old-fashioned names like Faith, Hope, or Prudence." He said he didn't mind what she called him. She decided, "Well, Prudy, Fifi doesn't quite fit, so you can be Prudence." "How do you like that?" He shrugged, saying it was okay. As they drove, Alice thought about how different he was in a dress, much more submissive. She wondered how far she could push him before he completely rebelled. She said, "When we get home, I want you to put on your black maid's uniform. Don't forget the petticoat and the cute little cap. I need to see you in that uniform." She noticed him blushing and found his discomfort amusing. She imagined him plotting how to escape his predicament and wondered how he'd handle visitors. She considered letting him wear his men's clothes for customer visits, but then remembered that anyone could show up unexpectedly. Upon arriving home and unpacking, he donned the black maid's uniform, keeping the black flats on. When he looked in the mirror and put on the cap, he was astonished by his appearance. He couldn't see any trace of a man underneath. He pinned the cap in place and let the 2 black ribbons hang down the back. When he presented himself to Alice, she was impressed. "You look amazing," she said. "I might not even go to work. I love watching you in that uniform. You look so sexy. But do put on a pair of black heels, that uniform really demands them." He changed into the heels, and Alice instructed him to clean the kitchen counters and the stove. She pointed out the oven cleaner under the sink. As he cleaned, he found appliance polish and was pleased with the results. Alice watched him work, impressed by how well he managed in heels. His movements were graceful, and his rear swayed enticingly. After finishing, Alice asked him to prepare supper. He busied himself in the kitchen and soon set the table. During dinner, Alice remarked, "You really surprise me. I thought you'd fight me every step of the way, but you're doing everything I ask." "I can't believe it." He responded, "When you first dressed me up, I considered resisting, but then I saw how much you were enjoying yourself. I didn't want to spoil your fun. Eventually, it became enjoyable for me too. I'd prefer wearing men's clothes, but if wearing dresses makes you happy, then I'll wear them. I loved you when we married, and that love has only grown. If I didn't love you, I would have been out of these clothes yesterday." Alice, her eyes misty, said, "You've shocked me with your response. I never thought you'd go this far just for me. I'll get some solvent to remove your chests tomorrow when I'm at work, so you can wear men's clothes." He asked, "Why?" "We've got all these new clothes for me, and they won't fit you. Why waste them?" They both laughed, and Alice marveled at how she had found such a wonderful husband.